Hello, welcome back, everyone. Great to be with you. Another beautiful week of the Daily Zohar study. I hope this week I can share some exciting news on something very beautiful coming up. Maybe before Rosh Chodesh we can talk about it. But it's something that is very exciting and something that I think everyone is going to want to be a part of. And of course, it's very related to everything we do. So hopefully everything will work out to be able to share that. But in the meantime, as we begin our study this week, we know it's the final days of the month of Adar, the month of Pisces, leading into the new month of Aries. Aries is the beginning of the new cycle of the zodiac, the new year. We know the first 12 days control the entire year itself, and we know in Aries we can transform all energy of war, all energy of actually desire, selfishness. We can take control over that. So we want to meditate that as we're within these final days, beginning the new month, new year, with our consciousness, with the light of the Zohar, we're awakening a higher level of consciousness within our own selves and within the entire world. We're awakening more love within ourselves and in the world. We're overcoming all aspects of our limited selves, whatever we have to leave behind in this year, preparing ourselves for our new selves in the coming year. So, with the power of the Zohar, with deep appreciation for this great merit, with the support of all the tzaddikim, as we're coming to the new moon this week, let's read the prayer of the Ari to open up our hearts, to draw support, to strengthen our consciousness, to overcome all the thoughts of our ego. And as actually what we're discussing, we started last time, but we're discussing the power of spiritual study and the power of the Torah. So to open our hearts so we can receive that. ריבון העולמים ואדוני האדונים אהבך והסליחות מודים אנחנו לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו בגידה ובהשתחוויה שקרבתנו לתורתך ולעבודתך ולת הקודש ונתת לנו חלק בסודות תורתך הקדושה מענו בחיינו אשר עשית עמנו חסד גדול כזה על כן אנחנו מפנים תחנוננו לפניך שתמחול ותסלח לכל חטאותינו ועוונותינו ואל יהיו עוונותינו מבדילים מאתנו לפניך וכן יהי רצון לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו שתכונן אל לבבינו ליראתך ולאהבתך ותקשיב אוזניך לדברים אלה ותפתח לבבינו הערה בסודות תורתך ויהיה למדנו זה נחת וכלפני כיסאך ולך כך ניחוח ותציל עלינו עומק כל נשמתנו בכל בחינתנו ושיתנוצצו ניצוצות עבדיך הקדושים אשר על ידם גילית דבריך בעולם וזכותם וזכות אבותם וזכות תורתם ותמונתם וקדושתם יעמוד לנו לבל ניכשל בדברים אלו בזכותם תגרננו מה שלומדים כמאמן אם זה מאירות ישראל גל עיניו והביט נפלא מתורתך כי אדוני ייתן חוכמה מפיו דעת ותבונה יגלה רצון עמי פיו והגן לי מלפניך אדוני וגואלי. Right, so on paragraph 122 we're starting a new chapter. It's titled Ve'aborek Ein Bo Mayim. The pit was empty, there was no water. And in paragraphs 120, 122, 121, we discussed the how Torah study, a connection to this light, this wisdom, not the intellectual pursuit of the knowledge or information within the Torah, within, the biblical study, but it's through that connection, with that desire, as we'll discuss a little more, this concept of lishma, that a person is able to plug into the infinite reality, to awaken endless blessings for themselves. And depending on their consciousness, that will determine what kind of blessings and what kind of new reality they manifest for themselves. So the Zohar continues on paragraph 122, saying, whoever studies, whoever toils, whoever delves into the Torah, lishma. Lishma means literally translates as for its own sake or for her own sake, which Rav Ashlag speaks a lot about. That there's a way to study the Torah lishma or shelo lishma, like we said last time. Lo lishma means not for its own sake, means I'm doing it for my own sake. Now that sounds like a good thing, right? I'm going to be spiritual. I'm going to study spiritual wisdom for myself, which sounds nice, but we don't mean it in that way. What it means is, let's say a person is studying this because, for the information, right? It's good information, right? If I learn the Torah, which is the secrets of the universe, then I'm better equipped to deal with life. I mean, let's say at least on that level, that's a good idea, right? And then I study this, I understand, I know how this universe works, I understand how, you know, how to achieve more, to be a better version of myself, how to overcome my ego and overcome my challenges, and you know, that sounds like a good reason, right? Now, that's what the Kabbalists call Shelo Lishma, when there's a direct um, personal benefit or um, where the point of it is me, let's say, just me. Now, again, that's a good place to start, but the better place to get to is what's called Shelo Lishma, where there's no agenda, no personal agenda, there's no desire for honor or respect because of it, or anything physical because of it. Shelo Lishma means that I'm doing it for the sake of connecting to the light. I'm doing it for the sake of bringing light to the world. I'm doing it for the sake of my own inner transformation. Rav Ashlag, in many of his books, he speaks about this concept that my spiritual work and my spiritual study, the reason why I study Torah is because it is what is the closest study, it is the only study that aligns my consciousness with the Creator. The point of my study is dvekut. Dvekut means to cleave to the Creator, to attach myself to the Creator's consciousness. It is what removes the greatest separation between myself and the Creator. Through the study, I can attach myself to the light. And the way to do that, the only way to attach yourself to an endless source of sharing and giving is by becoming more like that source. So the concept of studying Torah Lishma is I'm using the Torah not to change the world, not to change a situation, to change myself. Not my true self, because my true self is perfect, but to overcome whatever separation there is between myself and the Creator, manifesting, revealing that true light within me to truly connect to the light. So when a person studies the Torah that way, that this Torah study is helping them overcome their ego, their selfishness, their desire to receive the self alone, then they're really in affinity with the Creator. And that's also why Rav Ashlag says a person who studies the Torah and studies more and more and more and more, but they are not becoming more and more and more loving, more and more compassionate, more and more merciful, more and more like the Creator, then it's possible that they're actually strengthening their ego through the process. We have to, you have to watch out what you study and how you study and where your intention is. It should be making you more like the Creator, more loving and less judgmental than the opposite. That's why, and I don't want to get too much into this because obviously we want to study the Zohar. But the Ari speaks a lot about this, about what to study, how much, and why. There's a whole long discussion about this. And he says there are certain studies that are helpful, but they're just to prepare you for the real study. A lot of people spend a lot of time studying things that are meant to break klipot, but then he says it's like you need to break the shell of the walnut, but then you need to go and eat the walnut. The point of breaking the shell is to get what's inside it. Instead, if you just break shells all day, but you don't take what's inside, then what's the point? So, and that's also the power of the Zohar. The Zohar breaks the shell, and you get what's inside it immediately. So when a person does this, when a person studies Torah Lishma, they study with the consciousness of overcoming selfishness within, connecting to the soul, connecting to the Creator, dvekut, no personal agenda, really help change myself and change the world. Kad nafik mahal, when a person leaves this world, meaning when it's time for them to die or leave this world, the soul to elevate. Oraita azla kameh, ve'achrazat kameh. The Torah, uh, the Torah goes before this person and announces, proclaims in the spiritual world about this person, before this person, va'agenat ale, and protects this individual, delai krivun bahadei marehon dedina, to make sure that no forces of judgment even come close to this soul. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Even when we go to sleep at night, we have to watch out for forces of judgment. Here, the Zohar is saying when a person is really connecting to this light, if a person really goes through this transformation, this is what we call tzaddikim, then even when their soul leaves the world, there's nothing that can touch them. No forces of judgment can touch them. Kadshachiv gufa kiva, when his body is laying into the grave, he natrat le, this light of the Torah, protects this person's body. Kadnishbata azla listalka lemetav leatra, and when the soul goes through the spiritual world, it leaves and it's going back to its place in the spiritual world. Ihi azla kama dehaginishvata. The Torah that person studied and the purity of it will go before that soul. V'chamatarin itavu mikama deoraita. And many closed gates will be broken open before that Torah. That's also one of the things we explain very often. Whatever we study, and the Zohar will talk more about this, what guides our soul, both in this world and after leaving this world, the guidance of our soul is the study with true consciousness and intention that we have throughout our lifetime. That is the guiding light for our soul, our study. Even when we'll see, even when we study things we don't understand, even if we study things that are beyond us, and maybe especially if we study things that are beyond us, because that's what awakens our surrounding light. That is the guiding light for our soul. V'kaima alei devar nash, and this light, the light of the Torah, remains with the person, stands with that person, ad deita, until the soul is reawakened, dikumun meitaya de alma, at the time when the resurrection of the dead occurs. That light stays with that soul. V'ihi malfa sanegora ale. And this soul is protected, and the Torah brings positive testimony, constantly speaks in favor of that soul, brings merit to that soul. So imagine even just this paragraph of Zohar that we just studied together. This section will be forever a part of each and every one of us. This section of the Zohar will protect us both in this world and after this world. And it will be the section that defends us and guides us forever. And then the next paragraph will do the same. And the paragraph before will do the same. That's why there's a beautiful story. And it was interesting when I went to, I think this was in Hamburg, in Germany. I went to a cemetery. I heard there was a tzaddik, a kabbalist buried there. So I was there just for a day or two. And I wanted to find a way to go see that tzaddik. He's buried in the Rabbi Yehonatan Eibshitz. he's buried in the Jewish cemetery in Hamburg. And I managed to get in out of closed, operating hours. And I noticed that on a lot of the um, stones, the tombstones, there was the skull and bones, like the pirate symbol of skull and bones. And there's actually a story, and they say that in Sfat, they have the same symbol of the skull and bones in certain plots. I haven't seen any in Sfat, but I saw them there in Hamburg, and it reminded me of the story that they tell of the pirates who came to the Ari and asked the Ari, after living a life of, for the pirates, from their own kind of the reason why they were killing and looting and everything, this group of pirates at least, was they were looting slave boats and they were freeing all the slaves. So they would find a slave transport, and they would take over the ship, throw all the slave owners and the crew overboard, and then they would take that ship and release the entire ship free of slaves, free all the slaves on the ship. They weren't slaves, right? Just people enslaved them. And after decades of living a life like this, one of the pirates goes to the Ari and he asks him, "What can I do to cleanse? What can I do to cleanse everything that I've done throughout my life? Yes, I believe I did it all for a good purpose, but at the end of the day, I was killing people for years and years. I can't even imagine how many lives I've taken. What can I do to correct my soul? What can I do to to purify myself before it's my time to leave this world? I know I'm supposed to leave my soul more pure. What can I do?" The Ari told him, "Read Zohar as much as you can. Read 4 or 5 pages. Now, not the pages that we have, the ancient print of the pages, which would be like, let's say, 30 pages of our Zohar, maybe. And I don't remember the exact uh, conversion of the old pages to our pages. But read 4 or 5 pages of Zohar." This pirate says, I barely know how to read. Of course, I'm not going to understand the Zohar. He says, "Doesn't matter. Read the Zohar. It'll purify you. It'll purify you." Like what we're doing. We don't understand everything. That's not the point. This is the light that will guide us, protect us, purify us, both in this life and after this life. We can't imagine the value and the benefit. That's why the revolution, we don't realize the revolution of the Rav to direct us, to inspire the world to just even read the Zohar, scan the Zohar. We can't imagine the good that it does for ourselves and for the world. Every paragraph, every letter, it does what the Zohar here is saying, especially when we have pure consciousness. And even in paragraph 121, even without the purest of consciousness, it still does a lot of good. All right, and also purify your consciousness to get to the place where you have pure consciousness. We're all on that journey. Paragraph 123. Hadar dichtiv. Behitalechecha tanche otach v'shochvecha tishmor alecha v'hakitzota. Hi tesichecha. Beautiful verse. The Zohar is now going to break down a verse from Proverbs 6, verse 22. When you walk, it will lead you. When you lie down, it will watch over you. And when you are awake, it will talk with you. The Zohar is going to reveal how this verse relates to the process we just discussed. When it says, Bitalechecha tanche otach, when you walk, it will lead you. Bitalechecha tanche otach, kamaditmar, as we just explained, that the Torah, the light that you've connected to, will go in front of that person when they die and protect them and announce about them and break all the gates and always watch over them, as we just explained in paragraph 122. When you lie down, it will watch over you. At the time when the body is laying in the grave. At that moment, the body, that person, aspects of that person are judged in the grave. Everything they did in their life. How did they spend their time? How did they spend their money? Where was their consciousness? What kind of correction did they do? How much light did they bring to the world? How many people did they help? How many people did they hurt? How much did they change? The person who did, as we explained, studied Torah Lishma with the right consciousness, that light of the Torah protects that person. And then when you are awake, it will talk with you, it will converse with you. As it says, when at the time when the dead are resurrected in the world, and they will resurrect from the earth. She speaks with you. It will be your defense. It will speak in your defense. The Torah will protect you and guard you from anything. It will defend you from any forces of negativity. Paragraph 124. Rabbi Elazar says, that she will talk with you. What does that mean? What does it mean it will talk with you? Begin. Rabbi Elazar answers, this verse means, even though now, when a person is resurrected, when the soul is, when the body is resurrected and the soul comes back within the body, the Torah that it learned, right? Let's say a person passed away 300 years ago, 700 years ago, 1,000 years ago. So a lot of time has gone by. So now the body's resurrected, the soul comes back in. He says, even though you're being resurrected years and centuries later, the Torah will never be forgotten from that person. He will know everything that he knew before. A person will download all the wisdom that they had already. The same that they knew when they left this world. It's all protected, it's all kept within them. It's all that consciousness and wisdom and Torah is all saved. It's all protected. And it enters within them as it was before. And it fills his innards completely. It fills the deepest parts of him completely. Here Rav Ashlag adds, it's not like when we study, because the truth is, when our soul comes into this world, when we're in our mother's womb, there's an angel that teaches us all the secrets of the universe. We learn everything. We spend those 9 months learning all the Torah, everything there is to know. And then when we're born, the angel taps here on our upper lip and we forget everything. And then life is the process of relearning everything we already learned inside the womb. We don't end up learning everything usually, but some do. So he's saying, just as when we were born into this world, even though we knew everything before, we have to go through the process of relearning it. It's a gradual process. None of us know anything when we come to this world. Yes, some things we can intuitively figure out, or things come more naturally. But what the Zohar is saying is when our soul comes back into this world after the resurrection, everything, immediately, it's like it never left. We're not relearning it. It's all immediately fills us, fills our consciousness, fills every part of us immediately. Not going to have to be relearning it. It's like you wake up in the morning, like no time has passed, even though 1,000 years might have passed. Paragraph 125. And here's the crazier part. And whatever you knew, whatever you studied, whatever you learned before a person passed away, again, 300 years ago, 700 years ago, 1,000 years ago, whatever it is that you knew will come back clearer. And this is what we constantly say. What we study now, whatever we understand, don't understand, it doesn't matter. It's forever a part of us. And the Creator will come and teach it to us. Whatever you study in this life, whether you understand it or not, the fact that you studied it, the fact that you made the effort to study, the fact that you connected to it is forever a part of you. And whatever you don't understand, the Creator will teach you. Your soul will teach you. It'll come, as it says, at that time of the resurrection, clear to you from before a person left the world. Because all of these words, all these matters that a person didn't manage to understand, to attach, to connect to attain properly in their lifetime. But he made the effort with it, and didn't manage to understand it, didn't manage to connect to it. They all elevate. They all enter within him completely clear, pure, um, understood, and fills him completely with complete attachment and understanding. And the Torah will speak to him. As it says, when you wake up, it will speak with you. She will speak with you. Rabbi Yehuda says, similarly, whoever studies the Torah in this world, it merits to study that in the world to come, and as we've explained. So that's also, what are the souls doing when a soul leaves this world? They're doing what we're doing now. They're studying the Torah. They're connected to the secrets of the universe. They're attaching to the Creator's consciousness. And depending on what a person gets to do in this world, that's what their soul will do in the other world. Now, here's a beautiful secret. Torah study means, let's say, what we're doing, but also the Kabbalists teach. Torah study also means living by what the Torah teaches. There's a beautiful teaching that says when a person does business honestly, when a person doesn't cheat or lie, when a person does business faithfully, it's as if they study the whole Torah, right? So we're not just talking about sitting and learning things. It's more how you live. It's more how you live, right? Depending on how a person lives their life in accordance with the laws of the universe, then the person is going to be able to achieve what the Zohar here is speaking about. Paragraph 126. Come and see. So now the Zohar is saying, what about the person who doesn't? What about a person who didn't have the merit to study this Torah, who didn't actually make the effort to connect to this light and this wisdom, didn't go through a transformation process? And here the Zohar uses a beautiful word. The la zache, who didn't have the merit. Right? We're blessed to have this merit. We have to understand what a merit it is. And we have to go all the way with it. And he walks through this world in darkness. When a person leaves this world, not lin lay, they take the soul, and they take him to hell. The lowest place. There'll be no one to have mercy over him. We'll explain what this means soon. Which is it's called the gruesome pit, tit hayaven, the like slippery like clay, as it says, vayaleni mibol shaon mitit hayaven, vayakem al sel raglai konen ashurai, as it says in Psalms. He lifted me out of miry pit, I don't know, the slimy clay, and set my feet on a rock, steadied my legs. What does it mean a person goes down to hell? What are we talking about here? Are we talking about punishment? Of course, we know we're not talking about punishment. The point of the Torah is to purify our desire to receive the self alone. Is to purify us in this world. If a person just becomes more controlled by the desire to receive for the self alone in this world, then before they reincarnate, they have to go through a purification process. If they didn't go through a purification process in this world, then they'll have to go through a purification process out of this world. And that's what hell is. It's not punishment for living an imperfect life or not doing what God wants you to do. It's just that there's caked on selfishness and klipot that a person acquired and accumulated throughout their life, that you need like a power wash to take off all those levels, all those shells, all those klipot that are stuck onto that soul. So it's not a punishment. It's just a way to remove all the grime from the person's lifetime. A person can also go through levels of hell in this world, right? The challenge and the suffering and the pain sometimes also helps remove those klipot. But there's an easier way. Just a paragraph of Zohar can remove, countless klipot we can't even imagine. Paragraph 127. Whoever does not study the Torah in this world, meaning does not go from selfish to sharing in this lifetime, does not work on themselves, does not connect to the spiritual consciousness through the study and through the wisdom. V'itanav b'tinufei alma. Instead is filthy um, from the filth of this world, which means the desire to receive for the self alone. Maktiv, what does it say? Vayikachuhu vayashlichu to Abora. It says, what did the brothers do to Joseph? They took him and they threw him into the pit. Right? They said the brothers, they threw him into the pit. The pit was empty. There was no Torah, as we'll see what that means. Scorpions and snakes. The brothers throwing Joseph into the pit represents what happens to a soul that didn't transform in this lifetime. What is the pit? Dahu Gehinom, that's hell. After the dining laho, and they judge him in the place where they judge him. The inun de la yishtadlu right of those who do not study the Torah, those who do not go through that transformation process. It says v'abolek, the pit was empty. What is the pit was empty? Kamadiyu hava rek. Why does it tell us that it was empty? What was it empty of? My tama. Why was it empty? Begin de la hava be'mayim. Because as the verse says, the ain bo mayim, there was no water. What is water? Water is the Torah, right? Just like water is the source of our life and everything in this world. It says the pit was empty, there was no water, which means the person had no water, no Torah in their life. We'll continue with this tomorrow. We'll continue with this tomorrow. Paragraph 128 tomorrow. Thank you for joining, guys. The next parts of this are very beautiful. We're going to go more into the dynamic also of the brothers, and after they throw them in the pit and everything. So it's going to be great. Thank you for joining. We'll continue right where we left off tomorrow. And let's take all this consciousness and light into the day with us. Lots of love, everyone. Have an amazing day. Let's have an amazing week. See you soon.